If you really want to see me, take a look at my epiglottis. If you really want to be me, cut out my liver and eat it. I am Prometheus. Here is my fire. I am Prometheus. Here is my fire. Use it. You can try. 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 Well, it's too late to play pretend, and it's too late to make new friends, and it's too late to pick a new favorite color. It's blue, it's blue, I'd pick blue. It's blue, it's blue, I'd pick blue. Do people ever grow up, or do they just upgrade? When I was a boy, I was different than the other boys. I didn't have dreams about being an astronaut or a sports star. I was afraid of heights and awkward with balls. I dreamed about being a daddy, about being a husband. I could picture all the details of my future wedding, all the way down to the way the afternoon sun filtered through the forested canopy, where, surrounded by family and friends, and wearing a delicate wreath made of phlox and laurel leaves, I was married to my beautiful girlfriend, or gay lover, whichever the universe brought me first. But, of course, my romantic notions started much earlier. Allow me to transport you back 25 years into the past, to a time when I navigated the very dangerous halls of elementary school. Picture me now, short, shy, awkward, with giant glasses and ears to match, and curiously dressed like a spiffy gay sailor by my mother. I possessed none of the attributes or traits that would elevate me to my desired level of cool, but in one way, I was very, very advanced. I was incredibly horny. And in a sadly pre-internet world, I spent days practicing making love to my pillow, and hours French kissing my hand. I was ready. I had no idea what I was ready for, but I was ready. And the first object of my affection was a girl named Carrie from my temple. Carrie was not pretty. She had a prominent nose that would have been more in place on the face of a 90-year-old than a 9-year-old, and a slight lazy eye that sometimes caused her to veer off to the left when you saw her. Surely she would have been cast down to the same lowly social class as I, had it not been for another prominent attribute. She had boobs. And I loved her. But mostly I loved her boobs. So it was with entirely far too much courage and confidence than I had any right to possess that I walked up to Carrie in the schoolyard and asked her out on a date. Hi, Carrie. David. Do you want to go out with me? You have to ask your mom? Okay. This was me. Clearly a boy with dreams. But no car, no cash, no clue to the geography of my hometown, and I was going to take Carrie out on a wild date. The phrase, ignorance is bliss, had never found a more perfect vessel upon which to lay its weary head. But to my amazement, Carrie said yes. And I was so excited about this remarkable change in fortune that I did the obvious thing. I told everybody. Because now I wasn't alone. Somebody wanted me. I was cool. The next day, Carrie walked up to me in the exact same place where I'd asked her out the day previously. David, I can't go out with you tonight. Oh, okay, well, how about tomorrow night? I'm busy for the rest of her life. I guess Carrie had heard about my bragging, and while it would have been okay to go out with me when it was just between me and her, now that everybody knew, it wasn't worth the collateral damage, even with the boobs. Eventually, Carrie found Jesus and became born again. I found my dad's old Playboys and became a chronic masturbator. I guess we all have our own versions of salvation. In my 20s, my dating life was shit. I had no idea what I was doing. The ABCs of my romantic interludes went a bit like this. Yearn for girl, meet girl, impress girl, get girl. Realize once again I'm afraid to expose my fears and desires, and also that girl will never be my dream girl. And finally, dump that girl before she dumps me. These short-lived relationships were punctuated by long periods of loneliness and self-doubt that I packed full with work, recreational drugs, and ultimate frisbee. It worked pretty well for me in the same way that a seeing eye cat works for a blind person. I was just fine until I tried to cross the street. Meow! And when I finally crossed the street for the first time and fell deep in puppy love, my heart was broken. And of course, the heartbreak came in the form of a girl. I should have known that something was wrong that day. It had been raining all night, and the cloudy sky looked unsure if it was ready to offer more wetness. I must have been unsure too, because I repeatedly and emphatically told my girlfriend, Julia, I love you. I love you. Truth be told, even in the best of times, Julia found it difficult to express human emotions. Once, in response to admittedly emphatic and needy, I love you, Julia simply said, cow says moo. Cow says moo? It rhymes. I wasn't raised on a farm. And despite the fact that numerous childhood storybooks had schooled me in the proper vocalization of cattle, this cow was confused. On this morning, Julia wasn't even giving me farm animal noises, so I knew something was wrong. And she knew that I knew that she knew that I knew that she knew. It went just like that, except in complete silence and much quicker. Then Julia turned to me, and with one tear in her eye and even fewer words, she told me that she was moving away from California. And in no words at all, she told me that she was breaking up with me. I was destroyed, but I couldn't cry because she'd already beat me to it. I was pretty sure that there would not be any breakup sex because it'd been a really long time since we'd had relationship sex. But what was more awkward than ignoring my tidal wave of tears was attempting to put my shoes back on when we had finally broken up. My laces were still wet from the rain, and I had recently been experimenting with the elusive double knot. Fuck. I was struggling. Julia was still crying. In the end, I said, fuck it, and I walked out with one shoe on and one in my hands. Fuck. When I got back to my car, I called my brother Adam for what has become a traditional post-breakup analysis. It felt really good to hear Adam dismantle Julia's character with the hearty enthusiasm that only a defensive brother can muster up. But Adam had never met Julia. She'd never told him, "Cow says moo," with that twinkle in her eye. No. I was alone. I didn't know why the cow said moo. I still don't know why. But I think I know why the chicken clucked. I was fucked. Somehow, the tables had turned, and now I was the dumped guy and not the guy who dumped. And all of a sudden, I was that little boy in the schoolyard again, lonely and afraid and thinking that I'd always be alone. Somehow, I just fell down and I couldn't get back up. I didn't just feel single. I felt desperately isolated, like a lone wolf. And one day, I didn't feel like leaving my apartment. I couldn't get out of bed. I didn't even want to open my eyes. What if, for one last time, I opened my eyes? What if I got out of bed? What if I just jumped out the window? And I even stood up over that third-story window that overlooked Golden Gate Park. But I didn't see the trees across the street or the sliver of blue that leads to the ocean. All I saw was the sidewalk below and my body laying on top of it, looking peaceful. But I couldn't do it. I didn't even get close. The one thought beating my brain as I stood up over that sidewalk was that my apartment is a fucking mess. If I do this now, my mom's gonna think I was a slob. So, I cleaned up my apartment. And when I was done, I ate lunch. And when I was full, I called a therapist. Hello? I need help. And all of a sudden, after 10 years of therapy, I felt like myself again, just mildly fucked up. And when I was ready, I found the love of my life, and she found me. And we got married, and now we have a baby. But life is not perfect, and neither are we. Sometimes we fit like two perfect spoons. Other times we're like two forks struggling to eat soup. And all these dreams I had when I was a kid of being this perfect father, this perfect dad, it was so much harder than I thought it would be. When I was 9, I didn't think girls pooped, much less had opinions. And I'm still figuring it out. I'm still making mistakes. And I'm still gonna make mistakes. For instance, I was feeling so romantic one night, so I decided to write my wife a love song. But I was having so much trouble because I couldn't think of any words that rhyme with polyamory. Toyota Camry? Are there any words that rhyme with blowjob? Right after I sang that horrible song to my wife, she looked at me with those sexy eyes, and she said, "Sweetheart, I want another baby." And I was so excited about having sex with my wife that I couldn't figure out how to get my pants off. And at the same time, I was so nervous about making another baby because I was so exhausted from the one we already had that I immediately fell asleep, like a human opossum. She's gone. It's hard. It's hard to keep the romance flowing. Sometimes it's as simple as a foot massage. Other times, it's okay enough to say excuse me after farting. And my life is so much better. But it's strange because the better my life gets, the more emotional I get about it. I guess it's because I have something to lose now. I have so much more to lose than I did before. Just this evening, before I came here, I was holding my baby girl, and she was just like a little baby bird in my arms. And I started to feel that tsunami of bittersweet emotions overcome me. Just then, my wife walked into the room, and she asked, "Honey, are you crying? Again?" Yeah. I'm just so happy. But in the realm of emotional instability, I am nothing compared to my daughter, who at 9 months has mastered it. She can go from 0 to hysterical and right back in the time it takes me to blink. Girlfriend is really in touch with her anger. She laughs all the time now, but when she was a little baby, she couldn't even smile. Idiot. I would hold her in my arms and stare deep into her eyes, and she would look right back at me. And in that moment, I could tell that she was completely fucking onto me. If she could talk, it would have looked like this. But you done fucked up, motherfucker. You know you done fucked up. You should have changed my tap a half hour ago. Just for that, I'm gonna shit all over you and stay up half the night for no damn good reason at all. What do you think about that, Mr. Fuzzy Face? What do you think about that? And stop kissing me with that prickly ass beard. It hurts, motherfucker! Wah! And the baby has to be held all the time. If somebody isn't holding her, she seems to experience existential pain, which leads me and my wife to be constantly engaged in a surreal game of baby hot potato, in which the only rule is that whoever's holding her when she poops has to change her diaper. It gets really competitive. I used to need 2 arms to hold my baby, but now I can do it with 1. And I've devised a list of activities that I can safely complete while comforting my daughter. Type with 1 hand, point at things, pick my nose, pick my daughter's nose, wave at the cat, and count the number of girls I've turned into lesbians. 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. She was bisexual beforehand. And of course, the baby has to eat. And it seems like she feeds from my wife's breast for most of the day. And my wife's boobs are large, lovely, and full of milk that is not meant for me. I feel like I was evicted from a beautiful 2-bedroom San Francisco apartment with rent control. And I know, it's natural, it's good for the baby. But I do admit, I get jealous. I spend my days looking at these beautiful things that I cannot touch. Sometimes it feels like I'm living in a museum and my wife's boobs are just like the Mona Lisa. Mysterious, coy, safely behind glass, and with nipples that slowly follow me as I move across the room. And like the Mona Lisa, and to a lesser degree like my wife's breasts, life is a mystery. I know I can't protect my family from all the crazy shit that's out there. Cancer, wildfires, Donald fucking Trump. All I can do is love them. All I can do is love them and hope that it will be enough. Little bird, little bird, little bird, little bird. You're the prettiest old bird I ever done heard. Your mama loves you and your papa does too. Just keep on laughing and being you. Little bird, little bird. Little bird, little bird. Little bird, my word, little bird.